how do you, like, look, we watch Entourage and we, vicariously live through you guys, right? We would watch him and say, oh, I relate to him, I relate to him, I relate to him. He's this guy, and everybody was somebody, right? I'm this, I'm this, I'm that. Putting a crew together where in a competitive world like you, what are some qualities you look at to say, I'm going to let this guy be in my inner circle? Because, listen, many of us have a lot of acquaintances. We have a lot of friends. You must have a lot of friends. But then there is the inner circle of 3 or 5 names. What, especially in the industry you're in, what qualities do you look at to say, this guy is one of the guys that's in the inner circle?
Well, I know for me, and I always say, like, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, and I do believe one person's success will never hurt mine. In fact, the opposite, right? So if something good happens to a friend of mine, and success for them is, I've never, ever had a bit of, not even one bit of jealousy for my inner circle of friends that have done really great things, because I don't know, it just was never in my heart, because it doesn't have anything to do with me. There's enough room for everybody. So yeah, and I got lucky. We kind of grew up in a circle of people that have gone on to be successful, but everybody's kind of had their own sort of path to it. And the other thing about when you have super successful friends like that is that they keep you grounded, right? And when you see how well they handle situations, and they're at the highest of high levels, you go, well, see it, and then you see somebody else acting out or misbehaving. You're like, you know what? It doesn't have to be that way, because I know people that are 10 times bigger than you and would never do that. So it doesn't have to be the way of stomping your feet and yelling and screaming. You can be a good guy and accomplish great things.
By the way, that's a powerful statement you just made, right? The fact that we were talking about this yesterday, if other people are winning, you don't need to be envious about it. You just need to celebrate their success.
Yeah, it's good for you.
Yeah. Ethan and I were talking when he was on the podcast. Ethan Suplee, we're talking on the podcast, and I asked him questions about different people he's worked with. And I said, who's the hardest working guy you work with? He says, Leonardo DiCaprio. The way he works is he's the #1 professional. He says, I've never been late. He says, I've only been late one time. He told the story in his entire time of working. He says, but Leo is early. He always knows the lines. He's this, he's that, he's this. So for us, like, we put an event together like this, right? The only thing everybody sees is from the drape here. Nobody says what's going on there. Nobody says what's going on there.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that's going on behind closed doors. We see the movie on the big screen when we go there, right? With the amount of people that you work with, the guys that made it to the top level that you're friends with, what is the difference between how they handle? Because sometimes, like, wow, that guy's just probably very talented. That's why he made it to the top. It's just purely talent. He's got these God-given abilities. What do you see that we don't see behind closed doors?
I mean, I've had the pleasure of working with some really talented people, and they all have one thing in common, and it's the work ethic, and their commitment to their craft. And I don't want to say I'm friends with them, but I did do I did 2 movies with Denzel Washington. I did John Q with Denzel, and
one of my favorite movies, but I don't know if you guys seen John Q or not.
I think I've heard you mention.
Oh man, I mentioned Man on Fire today, but John Q is a very emotional movie. Yeah,
it
powerful
really is.
Movie,
Yeah, and I don't, like I play a nurse, right? So I'm in a lot of scenes, but I'm not doing things that are terribly challenging. But to have a front row seat to watch Denzel Washington perform at that level was like, I was driving home like, maybe this just isn't for me. Shit. Let's try to go back to school or something. I'm never doing that, right? I mean, just like, and I don't want to say it was easy, but I had not ever seen anything that up close. I mean, there's the scene where he's like got the gun to his head, and I'm like bandaging his arm. I'm doing nothing in the scene, but I had a front row seat to him just throwing up I mean, it was just a massive game. I was like, whoa, I couldn't. Like I said, I hadn't seen that with my own eyes. But if you look at Denzel, he started on the stage, and he does the theater, and he's just an actor's actor, So, but again, it all comes down to the hard work, and everybody has a different process. Leo's process is deep. He's deep. He goes, he's prepared. You're not gonna see him flipping through a script between takes. Yeah, no, the work is already done for those guys when they get there.